Greetings, YouTube Raw Healing family. I'm Dragon Mama, and this is episode number 2 of Raw Thoughts. Today's topic for conversation is raw thoughts, or raw veganism, or veganism. Don't mistake our passion for anger. You know, every time the Facebook algorithm brings a bunch of new people to my Facebook feed, there's a lot of people who say, why are all vegans so angry? Why are you guys so angry? All vegans are angry. It's a cult. It's crazy. Why does it come across to people this way? And I've been thinking about that a lot. You know, a huge shift happens inside of you once your heart turns vegan. It's one thing to go vegan for health reasons, because me, for example, I turned vegan, actually raw vegan, because I felt backed into a corner by my health, and I believed that this was the solution, and it was. But the shift that happened inside of my heart about 6 months in, oh my God, you guys, it was the craziest shift ever. So first of all, let me give you a little bit of back history, then we'll explore this topic in a little bit more detail. The back history is when I was a little girl, I don't know, I think between the ages of maybe 8 and 12, 9 and 12, maybe 9 and 11, something around that. I was a vegetarian, and I was that for the animals, and I was surrounded by so many meat eaters that eventually one day I just went back to eating meat again. And the little girl inside of me knew the truth, right? That little girl knew what was supposed to be going on. But fast forward here, I'm 46 years old. I know I don't look 46. I don't feel 46. I feel 25. But fast forward now, I'm 46, and I'm raw vegan now for 16 months, documenting my raw thoughts. I want to tell you guys a little story, because I go over to China to work, as many of you guys know, doing my spiritual alchemy work, emotional and spiritual alchemy work over there in China. I've hosted like over 150 events in the last decade. Holy wow. Anyway, I was over there this last spring, and I was also there in the summer, but this happened during the spring. And my colleagues had taken me to a market where I was going to get some, like I was doing watermelon at the time, so we are going to get some watermelon and some fresh fruit, check out the market. And so anyway, I walked deep into the market after I picked out the fruit, and I saw these 2 bins, and one of the bins had live fish in it, and the bin next to it had dead fish. So they were all the same type of fish. It's just that one of them had the frozen dead selections, and the ones next to it, they had the alive fish swimming around. And so it hit me. So I kind of looked in at and I looked at the dead fish, and I was like, ugh, because I used to eat sushi and like really be into seafood and stuff. And I looked at it, ugh, you know, it's just really disturbed at myself for where I had come from. And then I looked in at the live fish, and I made eye contact with this one fish. It looked at me, I looked at it, it looked at me, I looked at it. Then we had this thing going on with the fish, and then the fish looked over in the tank, clearly acknowledging that the other fish that were just like it, that were recently alive, were dead next to him. And he was kind of like looking at me, and then looking at the dead fish, looking at me, looking at the dead fish, like, get me the fuck out of here, because he knew that pretty soon his fate were going to be like his dead friends. And I can't really explain or put into words what this interaction did for me and what it did to me. Like something in my heart shifted to where I just realized it was so incredibly wrong what we're doing to the animals on this planet. And so getting back to the point of my discussion today, which is don't mistake our passion for anger. Oh my God. If you just knew, if you could feel for a second what vegans felt about the world, close to 50% of the Earth's habitable land is being used to raise like animals for slaughter, for food. And then and part of that land is like growing enough grains and crops to feed those animals so that we can kill them and feed them to people, when we just really be growing food on the land and fruits and whatever else we feed, and feeding the hungry. We're feeding all these animals and then slaughtering all these animals and making them part of the economy. If you can't see a problem with the fact that we're using 50% of the Earth's inhabitable land just to raise animals to kill them, and these animals, by the way, they never have a choice, and they're raised in the worst conditions, and then they're injected with all of these hormones while they're alive, and preservatives and chemicals while they're dead. And I'm sitting here like, oh my God, like the whole thing that's wrong with this entire planet, it's the food. And a huge part of what's wrong with humanity is the fact that we're raising meat and killing it, and most people just can't see it. And that's why we come across vegans as so angry, because people don't see what we see, that it's wrong what we're doing. It's not just wrong for our bodies, because we don't have the teeth to kill animals, and we don't eat it raw, right? We're really necrovores. That's a whole nother story. We'll get into that in a second. But what we're doing to Mother Earth and the amount of natural resources and just habitable land that we're consuming because we feel the need to breed and raise all these animals and make them a part of our economy, even though our guts aren't even made and our teeth aren't even made for this type of digestion. It's barbaric and it's crazy. And 70% of humans, I'm going to say this probably on every episode, 70% of humans die from either cancer, heart disease, or diabetes, yet we can't see the connection that we're so out of line with nature. We're not supposed to be eating dead things, like a vulture, like a scavenger, right? We're eating things that have been dead for longer than 30 days and packed full of chemicals. It's insane. And that's the reason why vegans come across as so angry, because we see the truth. That if everyone would just stop doing this, it would make a huge impact on the Earth's health and on the planet as a whole and on the people, right? And then when you start to look deeper into like food culture and meat culture and the brainwashing that we've been susceptible to for a very, very young age, you know, we trust our parents from a very, very young age, monkey see, monkey do, because they give us food and they keep us safe. And then we trust them. It's like, oh, they give us meat, then everyone else is eating meat when we go to school. So we never really take a moment to think for ourselves. And it's really, really crazy, right? Because look at how the way humans live. You spend 18 years of your life like getting this education, and then you have to get a job and work like a slave. Most people hate their jobs so that you can have medical insurance, because everybody knows that come when you're 40 or 50 or 60, you're going to get sick, and you have to pay for the medical insurance because you know you're going to get sick, and you have to have enough money to pay for the poison food that's making you sick, which is why you need the medical insurance. The entire matrix, the entire system as we know it would just boom fall apart if everyone just stopped buying the dead food and the processed food, and we stop murdering ourselves with these fake foods, and we step outside the brainwashing. I tell you what, I never thought my heart would turn this vegan. I always thought I was just going to be one of those raw vegans who just did it for health reasons, and if people want to eat meat, whatever. That was me. I never wanted to say anything to anybody, but it's an addiction, and it's a brainwashing, and it's a part of the matrix program. And you know how you're programmed with different things, whether it's like religion or whether organized religion or culture or whatever. We have all different types of programming here in the matrix. The biggest program that people can't seem to escape is the food program. And if you're able to create space between yourself and this food program, this program that says we're supposed to eat meat and processed foods and 3 times a day, and you need health insurance and trusting the doctors, it's all one big brainwashing program. For me, it was 6 months of fully raw, not even a bite off of the fully raw spectrum. Something happens in your heart, something happened in my heart, something happens in your brain to where you can just see the programming. You see it, and you're like, holy wow, I don't want to be a part of this anymore. And so it's frustrating and it's hurtful. Oh my God, and it's hard and it's challenging to see so many people I care about, people we all care about, trapped in this loop. And then people want to come on and say things like, just let people eat what they want. Well, what you want is selfish. What you want is destructive to yourself, which is your business, but it's also destroying the planet. We should all really have a close look at our actions and what we're doing and how many natural resources we're using and land that we're using, and how we could be making a better use of natural resources in the land to make sure that every man, woman, and child has fresh fruits and vegetables and a shelter. This is a human birthright. The human birthright is that nobody should be hungry and nobody should be homeless. No one should be starving. We've got everything all wrong. And at the center of this wrongness and this injustice is the meat industry and the processed food industry. Trust me, I never, ever, ever thought that I would be this passionate about kind of a movement like veganism and raw veganism, but I am. And it happened. And it happened accidentally. And man, that interaction with that fish in China, that changed my life forever. Now when I look at bugs, when I look at cows, they all look back at me, I look at them. These cows, oh my God, they're no different than a dog or a cat. Just because you say something was raised or bred for, oh my goodness, how would you feel if extraterrestrials or aliens like giants came here and they looked at us the same way we look at cows and they are harvesting us for food, some people think they are anyway, but how would you feel if literally like the spaceships open and they just started putting people in concentration camps like we do to cows, and then making humans have sex with each other, which we do to cows and chickens, and then reproducing them and then chopping them up into little pieces and eating them? Oh, the injustice. People would be so mad. And it's crazy that people get mad over like someone in China like eating a dog, but then they'll sit there and eat a cow on their plate. You guys, we're killing ourselves and the planet. Vegans are not angry. We're super passionate. We're disturbed. We're hurt. Our hearts are wide open in seeing the impact, the positive impact that we could have on the planet if everyone would just do it. You would heal yourself and the planet, and we would fight against poverty. We would fight against homelessness. We'd fight against world hunger. It all starts with veganism and restoring the rights back to the animals and taking back our precious earth and our precious land and our natural resources and using it to feed people who need it most. Those are my raw thoughts for today, everyone. Much love.